Whether you want to fly short-range feeder cargo routes, drop in and out of unimproved strips, or bounce around the islands, the Quest Kodiak by Thranda will get the job done.
Welcome to Flight Brothers FT, produced by Tim and Lee. Plan the flight and fly the plan. All charts courtesy of Navigraph charts, not to be used for real-world navigation. Be sure to subscribe and explore the rest of the channel for high-quality aviation content and entertainment.
If you were like me, you've probably been watching the Kodiak Quest for a while wondering, do I really need this in my hangar? The short answer is if you've been watching it, probably yes. I purchased this aircraft while it was on sale and wish I had picked it up sooner. I have the Reality Expansion Pack by Simcoder's add-on, but we're not going to take a look at that today. This is the base aircraft as it comes from Thranda. What comes with it? Well, you get an amphibious model, seen here. We'll look at these in a little bit more detail. And a matching tricycle variant as well. Let's take a look at some of the included liveries in a bit more detail. You get this nice looking Amazonia here. A lot of these I am unfamiliar with, so bear with me. You get a nice looking blue one, and this is the cargo version that we're looking at here. You can tell by the windows in the passenger area being out. You get this nice maroon and black there. The DHL, of course. My favorite here coming up would be the FedEx. We have Empire Air that flies the FedEx feeders here in the Phoenix area. I try and mimic some of their flights from time to time. Another brand I'm unfamiliar with, but a very smart looking color here, Jars. This one as well looks very nice. You get the tiger striped one if you want to be a little bit more loud with your color choice. They've got you covered. In the event you have asked yourself, Lee, what if I picked the wrong livery? Well, Thranda has thought of that and included right here from their GUI or graphic user interface here a Livery Selector. You just simply click left or right on it, and then right here in the middle. They also have a custom one. You can select some of the colors. Most paint schemes are available from the factory in different colors and designs. This mimics that as well. You can select some of the colors and the preloaded designs and save those, which is a very nice feature, not included by a lot of publishers. Naturally, we have high definition texturing. PBR makes our chrome and reflective materials look more realistic, and the modeling was actually from a CAD design of the real aircraft, so it looks very true to life from every angle. And if we click apply here, this is how quick our custom livery pops up, and you can alter your tail number or registration, as you can see here in this box. We'll try and fit, I guess it kind of cuts the B off there, so if we do 1, 2, 3 FB, it might fit there. Also worth noting is it comes with the Skunk Crafts Auto Updater, and there's a bush pack included as well. So you get a couple other features in version 2.0 that I'm not sure were available in the original released version. Now let's take a look at the graphic user interface. At the top you see we have mode here, and I've got that set for realistic. That allows, you have simplified and realistic. Realistic allows the torque effects of the engine. You can actually over torque it a little easier. Here we have an electric tug, so you can drag the aircraft around using your elevator and rudder. You can steer it, and here we'll push it backwards a little bit. Pretty cool. Not sure how many of you would actually use it. I did not check with better pushback to see if this works or not, so the jury's still out on that one. Here we have our window reflections, which we can turn those on off by clicking here, and then also on the aircraft where it turns on the little icon there where it's black and blue, you can click on that to enable and disable them. Of course, we have our panel reflections for our glass here. If we zoom in and take a look, you can see there they're on, and we'll they're off, then we'll turn them on there. This is the, we'll come back to that. That's the easy button. This is a GPU, of course. We can click that and then we'll get our ground power. It adds the cart just outside the pilot's door there. Take a little bit better look at it. Nice little feature. And here's the easy button. As soon as you click this, everything pretty much powers on. The reason our MFD is not on is our avionics switch is off. Click those on. When it starts booting up here, you have to click the there's a little button you select, almost like in a modern car, where you have to click, yeah, I'm not going to use the GPS while I'm driving. So click to turn it off and click to turn it back on. Very simple. So you can practice your cold and darks, or you can jump in and just hit go. As we move back out to the exterior, of course you have an all covers button and all tie downs, all doors. We can click and add those, and you see the necessary features coming and then going away. This one's pretty cool. They've actually modeled the engine as well. The one feature you don't get with this is the cargo pod doors do not open from this button. So we'll take a look at this. So you get the pilot, co-pilot doors, both engine covers, and then you get the cargo door on this variant. Cargo pod doors are available a little further down. Click it one more time just because it looks so cool. And we'll get one more close up here. They've modeled that. Very neat. The attention to detail on this aircraft is they really spared nothing. We can add and subtract that cargo pod here. You can see the aircraft kind of bounces dynamically as well. Now let's swing to the other side, and we'll click here the cargo pod doors. You can see all of them open. Try and move the camera slightly here, get a little bit better view. For any of you that want to take a better look, again, it has a nice hollow effect, and when it closes, you can actually watch the little screw or captives rotate there, which again, amazing attention to detail. I tried clicking here. I know it is clickable, but maybe not from this view. We can add our wheel chocks. And here you can also release your brakes from the exterior. Not sure why, but the feature's there. Maybe if you're dragging it around with your tug. And here you have some exterior and interior light selections. I didn't really see them work too well out here, but it is the middle of the day. So all the lighting does work on it. Again, that's not too big of a deal, but it is there. We'll hop back inside here, and then you see when we click it, the respective switches flip to the correct positions. We click on our door handles, and they do open. They're kind of difficult to grab when you're outside. We can flip our small window open here as well. We kick that door open, and when you move out of the way, of course, you get the pilot there. And then as we look back at him here, he's actually animated too. His hands move and his head kind of moves around, which is slightly unnerving if you're looking back at it in flight. Kind of wondering what he's looking at. They have, I believe they call these flyouts. Most of us would call them pop-out, PFDs and MFDs. If you click on those, I was actually trying to close that door from the inside. We may have to slide across here, grab it, and then it closes right back, as you can see here. So that's done. You do get the windmilling effect from the propeller. The more you fly this aircraft, the more details I've noticed. I mean, just as we move around here, take a look at the lighting and everything. Down here to the floor, I mean, who comes down and looks underneath a seat in flight? Probably no one. Maybe you will now. But just the seat brackets, the attention that the detail that they did in here, it's just really impressive when a developer takes the time to do this, and just really hits all those things that the average person may not notice, but as you continue to fly it, you notice more and more. In the cargo version back here, the more weight you add, the bigger the cargo goes. So you get a crate or boxes, it starts stacking boxes. And then in the passenger version, when you add the weight, of course, you have the seats in that variant, and you get the windows out of the side, which actually we can play with that now. If we take and increase our weight here, or sorry, decreasing. Sorry, I'm narrating in post-production, so it's kind of difficult to see what I'm doing here on the smaller screen. But yeah, see, as we reduce the weight, the cargo is disappearing. So the boxes are gone. The same thing will happen there with that crate. We can decrease it. Takes a little bit longer. I do wish there was a quicker way to adjust weight in this. I'm using the scroll wheel, which is effective. I mean, it works, but when you're trying to add and subtract vast amounts of cargo, here you go, you can see, it seems to be a little bit tedious. I made a joke on one of our FB 2019 on Instagram. We posted a picture after I bought this, and I was joking that I was flying toilet paper around because, of course, the COVID-19 pandemic had started there. So it's a little bit tongue-in-cheek. I know it's a serious thing, and hope everyone who is watching this is doing well, and along with you and your families, and hope there's been a minimal economic impact to you. But here in the United States, everyone was out buying toilet paper and hand sanitizer and wipes, whereas I understand other parts of the world were buying food products. Well, now that we've kind of done our weight and balance here, you can see you add fuel there as well. We talked about the general tab earlier. We've discussed the liveries. Of course, hitting this, also there on the left side, you get your weight and balance chart there. If we go and click here, we can get the cargo or the passenger versions. See, if we scroll back here, I'm kind of bouncing back and forth there on the weight. Nothing changes here visually. You know, we did see that in the cargo version that the boxes stacked up and became crates. And if you guys are able to see the camera, it's not going to work with the buttons that I'm pushing actually, because I have my own personal presets. So the default ones there are listed, and then I have my own custom ones. Some of them, like these wing views, I actually kept from the factory one. I think they're kind of cool, so you kind of rotate it around. Fuel shut-off switch is very important up there on the top, so remember those are there. And we did the cabin view through the cargo variant, so here we'll take a slide back through the passenger version. You do get the regular passenger version and an executive model. So this would be kind of like your island hopping tourists. And then you have your little cargo bay back here in the back behind the net. Net looks pretty good. Again, those minor things. So as we come back forward here, you can see the texturing on the seats looks really nice. You get the lights over the passenger compartment there. And of course the belts here. Coming back forward, you can actually pop all the way out. Like the camera almost fully moves on this airplane, which is really neat. You could set up some pretty cool camera angles for your flights. See, we can come all the way out here to the nose. Again, there's that windmilling effect. We click on the audio settings here. You can adjust all your audio settings. I have not messed with any of that. We can put skis on here. That's actually, that might be better suited to going outside here. Take a look at some of these. There's our cargo again, as we were talking about. We can get the two different cabins. Here we have the executive set up there. Get the club seating in the front, 4 club seats. Here we'll get the skis. So for all you guys who want to go fly on the snow and ice, there you go. Your Tundra tires. You can see that affects it there with the physics. It kind of bounces up and down. Put our mud flaps on. Take those off. Here we can get our de-ice features. You can see it actually does it on the struts, gear, and leading edges of the wings. And it also puts the switches inside. The panel's there by default. We'll take a look here. See, the panel's there, but then when you remove it, the switches go away. So I'm not sure if it's like that in the actual aircraft or not. Probably cheaper to just have the panel made and then add the actual switch hardware than it is to have a new panel. And again, you have your synthetic vision, and we can make that go away. And I think that's pretty much everything on the interior. And in another one of those details, you can move and position your sun visor on both sides. Okay, Sim Captain, so Thranda says in Realistic that you can over torque the engine, and like the other flight brother Tim, I would have said, actually I did say, as you'll see, challenge accepted. So we're going to hop out here. I've done minimal pre-flight, but we should be reasonably set up. And then I'm going to shove the throttle forward, watch our torque. And yeah, there's something happened. And if you'll see, there's actually animated smoke right now that is getting more and more dense. It's what it says. And then they said below the passenger's yoke, or co-pilot's yoke, which I couldn't get to right now, need my smoke goggles, is a way to keep the smoke from coming in here. So I figured, okay, let's see if that's for real while I try and keep this thing on the center line. And there we go. And you see the smoke dissipating. So I've actually, in about 6 or 7 flights, I've never over torqued this. That's not tooting my own horn, that's just being overly cautious and probably lucky. So it is true, you can over torque this, and it does make breaky sounds. So there you go. And again, good job, Thranda. Thanks for including those little things. And before we jump into flying here, I wanted to make one point about the amphib here as we see it on approach. And I'm by no means an expert at amphibians, and this is the first time I'd actually flown one in X-Plane 11 was on this flight to do the recording. They have lovely gear animations, and the water rudders are animated as well. You get the center stack it adds in between the seats to control both the landing gear and the water rudders. But when you land or when you're ground taxiing, you have to really turn it. It has the steering kind of linked to the water rudders, which I know that kind of makes sense. But there's not a lot of precision in the initial movement, so you have to turn really hard to get it to turn, and you get very little on or slightly off center. Most of your turning's done at the ends of the range of movement. So just something to keep in mind if you're an amphib pilot. Please comment below, let us know if that's accurate, or if an X-plane thing, or maybe it's this aircraft. I don't know, but just an observation that I noticed. So I bounced this one on. Let's get on to some more flying. Alright, Sim Captain, so how does it fly? Well, let's go ahead and do our pre-flight here. It's abbreviated, of course. We're not going to hit everything up here. We'll remove all of our tie downs and plugs, etc. We'll go ahead and hop up here into the flight deck. And we'll go ahead and shut the door here. Now I am not going through a detailed cold and dark procedure. I do have the reality expansion pack for this, which comes with the checklist, and this has a checklist, I believe, in the documentation, which we've discussed earlier, but I do not have that right now, so we're just going to run a quick flow through here, make sure all the switches are off, which they are. All these switches are off there, and I believe our parking brake is set there as well. Alright, so we'll kick on our master. We have our synthetic vision here on the display, which, as you remember earlier, you can turn that on and off from the side. And again, guys, don't hammer me too much here. Just want to get this started, give you a little bit of feedback. It's been a while since I've flown this, but it was really enjoyable, and so we'll go ahead and get the beacon on. I believe that goes on. And then, see, we are going to be watching our NG at 12. We're going to bring fuel in. So let me get to a position where I can kind of do that. Get our starter on. Bring it up to low idle. Got ITT climbing there. Alright. That looks okay. Get our bypass on. Alright, we are in Pensacola. Call our temperature good there. Just throw on auto. See how that works. We are feathered. Let's go ahead and run that up. Go ahead and move it to max. I'm just going to throw all of our lights on. That way once we can get out here, get airborne. Here's our ice protection, as we saw earlier as well, and we're not going to need any of that today in Florida with a OAT of 23 degrees. I did want to load the aircraft up and make it pretty heavy here, so let's do that. Let's fill it full of fuel. I wish there was like a click and drag here, something a little faster. I'm sure you can probably use the save configuration here, which I believe I've set up, but anyway, we're going to go ahead and go with this, a 7,350 pounds total weight there. We're going to taxi out, and basically I'm just going to hammer it, get it up in the air, put it into a stall, do some slow flight, and then bring it back. Let you guys know how that goes. So we will start taxiing now. Again, we are at low idle. We'll want to flip that up to high idle prior to takeoff. I'm going to leave the yoke hidden on this side. Okay, and we have flaps up. And we're going to go to high. That's one thing, I may have mentioned it already, that the knob, when you're moving from low to high idle, especially when you're taxiing, it's really easy to cut it off and then you have to go through another start procedure. So be very careful about that. I haven't found a good camera angle position in order to get that to work for me. So we're going to go ahead, advance the power. Get it right about that 1900, and I'm going to brake release. pulling just a little bit, but the wind's helping us. Wow, I took off the wrong way. That's alright, let's see how it does. Look at that. No problem in the Kodiak. No problem. Pulled out there, took off the wrong way, and it still worked. Wonderful. And we were heavy too. Could have been airborne even sooner than that if we weren't as loaded. Let's take a look outside. Alright, let's climb up a couple thousand feet, do a stall or two, see how it holds through there. And because we're in a sim, we can take a chance that 3,000 is going to be high enough for us. As we cross back over, I've basically done a 180 and we're heading back over top of Pensacola now. I'm going to decrease power and just hold the nose up until it stalls, and we'll see how it performs through the stall. We'll start to hear the airflow there. You get the stall horn. And I couldn't go full aft stick there. It wanted to roll on a wing before I could do that. So let's climb back up. We only lost about 300 feet there, 300 or 400 feet. Alright, so we'll decrease power again and start adding some back pressure. Alright, so this aircraft does not stall, at least in our current configuration. It doesn't stall forward, but you get plenty of warning with the stall horn that it's impending as you approach it. You have good control authority on the on roll. So as long as you catch it early on, I have no problems flying this aircraft through there. And we are at a pretty heavy weight, as you guys remember. We loaded on there. So let's just do some max aileron deflections here so you can see the roll. And these are full control lock to control lock here. Probably should have turned this on. Now you guys will have to believe me, so we'll do that again. It really does handle and fly like a big Cessna or Piper. It's very stable in all axis, and it gains and loses speed fairly predictably. Not super fast, but it's very predictable, and slows down really well. It's just got a lot of power, cruises along at really good speed, and if you're looking for something to tick all those boxes, pretty good aircraft to look at purchasing. And I can't remember what our winds are, but we're going to see how bad we can make this. So I am going to see if we can hit this runway here just off the nose. So I'm going to come down to flaps. I'm going to throw in full flaps here. We've got 3 notches out now. That is full. Our speed is decreasing, as you guys can see. Look one more time. Keep forgetting to use the mouse. Got the mouse kind of sandwiched between my control stick here and the keyboard, so I just naturally go to the stick. Alright, we're going to add power and watch our bank angle here. I don't want speed getting away from me, but we also don't want to roll too much and creep up on a spin situation. I think we're still too high, but we'll see if we can slip it in. You guys can see what we've got going on here. Kind of hard for me to control that when I'm outside the aircraft. Alright, we'll roll back here. We might have some luck getting down at the far end. We're back at idle power right now. Yeah, and gaining speed really fast, so I don't think this is going to work. We tried, we came close. Could have extended out a little bit more there, flew a longer downwind. Obviously that would have worked for us, but we'll come over the field. We'll just see how close we can get here. And we are still full flaps. I haven't messed with those at all. Just going to hold it, see if we can bleed off some airspeed here. Oop, there's a bounce. Go ahead and dump some of our flaps. Alright, and it's down, so we did actually make it there.
Thank you, Sim Captains, and we hope you enjoyed taking a look at the Thranda Quest Kodiak with us today. From our families to yours, stay safe, stay healthy, and plan the flight and fly the plane.